Hello and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Jaquetta Williams. Today's show has some incredible people who you just have to meet. So much so, I think they may just change your life. Our first group comes from Haiti. They lost everything, and I'm talking about their home, their mothers and fathers. They didn't have food, and they were struggling just to eat. But all of that changed when a family right here in Georgia decided to go to Haiti with a bundle of these. We're talking about flip-flops. That's right, flip-flops. It started with a chance meeting among women, and then a family that took those flip-flops on a trip. See how all of that evolved into a children's choir that travels the world singing praises to God. Are you intrigued? Good. I want you to be. We'll introduce you to Love Him, Love Them, and Mama Linda. Now, you may remember what it was like being 18 years old. It's that time when you really want to step out into the world and stake your claim on being a young adult. Your parents, well, they probably guided you along the way through the process. But there are children who grow up in foster care, going from home to home with no real roots. And once they're out of the foster care system at 18, then what? Well, there's an organization called Connections Homes that answers the question, what now? Our show is going to take you from Atlanta, Georgia, to a stop in Haiti. I also want to introduce you to two police chiefs who are all about the business of serving God and enforcing the law. They're both examples of Romans 13, verse 4, where it says, "For he is God's servant to do you good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword for nothing." One is in Clay County, Florida, and the other is in Glenn County in Brunswick, Georgia. Our last stop is in Montgomery, Alabama, though. You may not think about how important it is to get medical help when you need it. It never really happens until you're smack dab in the middle of an emergency. No one wants to scramble to figure out how to get the person they love the help they need. So today, they're taking you down the runway with Pilots for Christ who answer that emergency call. You ready to get our show started? So am I. Imagine that you're married, you're making money, you're living your life, and you're traveling the world. And all of that stops when you're asked to be a mother to 5 children. 5. And you don't even know where the schools are in your neighborhood. That's just what happened to Linda Gunter. She stopped by our studio earlier in the week. Here's their story.
That song is very popular right now. Chris Tomlin's doing a tour. But to see children who don't have a father to sing that song, and the earnestness and the sincerity with which they sing it, I lost my mind.
Meet Linda Gunter and these children from Haiti who make up the Love Him, Love Them Haitian Orphan Choir.
Love Him, Love Them, because it's the Bible in one sentence. Love Him, Love Them is based on Luke 10:27. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and then to love your neighbor as yourself. That's really what the Bible is all about. We usually show a video that shows their orphanage, the before and after, because the problem is the kids look so cute in their little costumes. Sometimes it's difficult to realize where they really do come from and what they really have endured. Yeah, the journey. So we try to do our best, even though I can't blow the smell of Haiti into the studio or into the different places that we do the concerts, but we try to do our best to make people realize where they came from and how they are still praising Jesus and worshiping Jesus.
Linda was thrust into motherhood when she was asked to take care of 5 Haitian children who lost their mother and father. She decided to take her entire family to Haiti in 2011.
I cannot get across to you how unlikely it was for me to receive these children. I didn't even know where the elementary school was in our town. I mean, it was the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. I walk in, before we even got into the orphanage, there was a pile of trash outside that had a goat on one side, a pig on the other, and 2 little boys. They were all rifling through this trash with the same goal in mind. They were looking for food. There was a stench. that I'm not used to in my house. We get to the third level where the children are. It's Christmas Day.
What was the stench?
It was from the lack of proper sewer.
Okay.
We get there, there's no Christmas tree, no gifts, no ham on the table, no electricity, no running water, and children running around, no shoes, mismatched clothes. We didn't have any gifts for them, but we had this magical suitcase that every time we opened it, there seemed to be more. And on that particular day, we had enough flip-flops for each child. We sit across the table with an interpreter and we say, you know, we'd really like to help you and these kids. What is your greatest need? And he looked back at me through the interpreter and he said, oh, Mommy Linda, you have already met our greatest need. And I'm thinking, what is he talking about?
Right.
My wife and I have been praying for 3 months for someone to bring us shoes. He said, and you just brought our children flip-flops. Now, these were 33-cent flip-flops from a department store that we bought here in America and took. Nothing. We were just about to walk out the door because now I'm really a mess. And he says, before you leave, would you mind for my children to sing for you? And I'm thinking, okay, sure, why not? From out of nowhere come generators, extension cords, keyboards, duct taped up drums. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting on this urine-stained daybed holding a 4-month-old baby who's in the choir now. And these children start to sing for me.
For there's a friend in Jesus who will wipe your tears away.
I was a mess. And it was as if God reached down from heaven and spoke to me and said, Linda, your joy, the joy that these children have, your joy is not the same. Your joy comes from your circumstances. If your husband does what you want him to do, when you want him to do it, you're a happy camper.
Right.
If these new kids you got have their room clean and do exactly what you tell them, everything's fine with you. He said, I want you to look at these kids. They have nothing, no materialistic things at all. And yet they are like little Holy Spirit vessels. They are singing with a joy that you don't even know about. When we finally walk out, and the pastor that we were with, I just looked at him, and in a very small voice, I said, you know, somebody needs to bring those kids to the United States. And now I'm talking about myself. I said, there are people in the United States that need to get the fact that when Jesus really is all you have, he really is all you need. He's all you need. And the pastor looked back at me with his thick Haitian accent and he said, oh, Mommy Linda, every American I bring here, they say the same thing, but don't nobody do nothing about it.
Linda did something about it, but it took a lot of work.
When you're in a foreign country, to get on an airplane, you got to have a visa. Well, to get a visa, you got to have a passport. To get a passport, you have to have a birth certificate. To get a birth certificate, you have to know when your birthday is.
Wow.
And yet we have children that you're going to meet today that were literally crushed underneath 2 and 3 levels of homes. And they were the only ones that were pulled out from the earthquake. And at that time, the administration in Haiti, for us to figure out birthdays, that's the level that we started at. When we arrived in the United States last year for our first choir tour, we had no bus, we had $120 in our bank account, and we had no idea how we were feeding the children.
So she made a pact with the children.
I said, so Jesus is going to listen to you. The only way that we can even begin to make this happen is for you to pray. And that's what happened. These children prayed, and they came to the United States last year. They sang from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina, and they raised the funds needed to go back to Haiti. They now have running water. They now have electricity. They now have 3 meals a day. They now have all of their school supplies. So God blessed it.
What is your vision for them in the future?
My vision for these children in the future is I want to raise up leaders. There are 2 things that are problems in Haiti. No Jesus, no jobs. Our vision and what we are doing in Haiti is we have a vocational school. We have several orphanages now. Everything we do is based around the church. But what we are going to do with these 30 children is we are raising them up to have a strong foundation in Jesus and to be leaders in their community. We are going to make sure that they do have jobs and that they are able to help others. We think here success is materialistic things and what we have and what we don't have. And what these children show you is that it's not about that.
Thank you, Linda. We appreciate
Absolutely.
your time. So I know you may not be able to do what Linda did, okay? But all of us have an opportunity to love him and love them. So perhaps you can figure out a way to do that in your town.